Let's go. I'm better than ever, they never been better than I. Regarded the hardest and I ain't even reaching my prime. They hate that I'm great and they faking I'm real as they come. So sit back and let me show you how this shit is done. My composition, my propositions, I'm raping the system. I'm killing the competition and all of y'all are my victims. Eyes and oohs as I'm ripping the instrumental, lyrical, individual, never been sentimental. I'm so hot every time that beat drop, and when I say I'm raping the
What is good, boxing fans and gamers? It's your boy FightNightsFinest, the selfie commentator, back with another Fight Night Champion online ranked match. It's been a minute since I sat here and just done some commentary and just give you guys a good online ranked match to look at. So we got one of the classic matchups on my channel, Timothy Bradley versus Zab Judah. And if you take a look at this guy's wins and losses and his KOs, you can tell he's got a lot of experience under his belt. And the first thing that I thought when I sat there and I looked at his record was like, you know, this is going to be a guy who knows the ins and outs of the game. He's going to be able to fight on the inside. He's going to be able to fight on the outside. He's going to be able to counterpunch. And he's going to be able to make adjustments, because when you play that many online ranked matches, first of all, you have to have a great joy and love for the game. Now, I know on these shows I have 301 wins and 79 losses, but I usually played on another account before I started on this one, and also for the mere fact that I used to play OWC a ton, and there's been many fighters that I deleted, many fighters that I kept. So I don't know if I have that many matches played, but I do know I have quite a few matches. And also I used to do a lot of Fight Now when I first started off. This way I can really go ahead and practice and learn combinations, learn how to go on the inside, learn how to, you know, cut the ring off, learn how to go on the outside, how to stay in the center of the ring. Just little different things I learned a lot from just practicing and doing Fight Now. So we take a look at this matchup, and the first thing that I looked at was the fact that, or the one thing that I wanted to do in this match was I wanted to really take my time during this fight. I didn't want to just go in there and start throwing a whole bunch of punches. It's been something that I've been trying to work on lately, is playing a bit more defensive and slowing down the speed of the game. Because the thing about Fight Night is that the game speed for me sometimes is too fast, but you can also make the fight go extremely slow. Like, the game speed really depends on the two fighters that's in the ring. If you get a guy who's throwing a lot of punches right here, it really just makes you want to go in there and trade combinations with him, throw tons of punches and exchange with him on the inside, and just have like a good old-fashioned slugfest, or just have one of those matches where both guys are throwing a lot of combinations. A fight that I can recently think of is Robert Guerrero. I can't say the guy's name. I think it's Ricardo. I can't really say the guy's name. It's the Japanese guy's most recent fight. You guys should know what I'm talking about if you are a boxing fan. But that fight was one of those fights where you could tell Guerrero wanted to box a little bit and, you know, use the ring, go around, throw a few combinations, work the outside a bit. But then he got into this kind of match where it's like he had to show that Mexican warrior spirit, where he had to go out there and start throwing combinations and get on the inside. And, you know, the fighter guy, he got a cut over his eye. You know, there was a couple of head clashes, but it was just one of those good old-fashioned fights. It could probably be a contender of Fight of the Year based on how good that fight actually was. So that's just one of those scenarios where you want to fight a slower paced fight and it ends up turning into a high exchange brawl. So we look to try to stay away from that as best as we could in this fight. But I really do have a lot of trouble fighting like that, because I don't know, fighting extremely defensive, it could get boring at times, and especially opponents, you could get bored. And this was initially a live commentary, so I was expressing how bored I was around the 5th round, where I wasn't really exchanged with him until later on in the fight. But let me not ruin things for you guys. Also, you guys may notice that the health and stamina bar is back. That's something I forgot to turn off, but I don't know, it seems like a lot of you guys just like the health and stamina bar, so I probably would just keep it on. Even though I do tend to enjoy fighting a lot more with the health and stamina on. In all honesty, it doesn't really bother me, but it's like, I don't need it, because I have good control over my stamina and know how many punches I should be throwing. And also, when you look at your stamina recovery in between rounds, it lets you know, hey, maybe I threw a little bit too many punches this round. And also, your fighter's body language can tell you the same thing. So this round has been one where we haven't really been able to connect much. The few punches that we have thrown they really aren't landing. We're losing exchanges in the middle of the round, and we've also lost basically the beginning of the round because he was able to hit us quite a bit. So defensively, if you're gonna fight like this, you have to be so on point with your defense. You have to be able to land power shots, and also you can't take much, and you really have to make your opponent miss. I actually had a fight yesterday against a guy named Who Is This Boxer. He wanted to be on the channel, but unfortunately I wasn't recorded. He beat me 9 rounds out of 10, and I scored 1 knockdown in that fight. I think he scored maybe 3 knockdowns, but he ended up winning by decision at the end of the fight. But it was a fight that was really good and really highlight what I was trying to do in this fight. He was able to do it to perfection against me. The match was Marvin Hagler versus Ricardo Alvarez. Alvarez had Hagler, but when it comes to fighting like that, one thing you also have to be able to do is close the gap and not be afraid to get onto the inside. And when you throw, you got to be 100% sure that it lands. So we're picking up the pace a bit more in this round 3 because I'm feeling at this point like, yeah, I can continue to fight defensive, but Judah doesn't hit the hardest. He's more of a speed fighter, more of a combination fighter, a fighter who really needs to establish his jab. And that's not something that we've really done much in this fight. We was able to do it a lot better in round 1 than we were able to do it in round 2. And not much of an adjustment came from him besides the fact that he got a little bit closer and then we got a little bit more lazy on defense. So one of the problems that I do tend to struggle with is connecting the offense, but also keeping a good defense at the same time. It's been such a long time since I really just sat back and fought a defensive style that it really made things really difficult for me. Also, one thing that I could have done a lot better is those combinations you see there. Maybe a jab to the head and then an uppercut downstairs to the body. Or we could have gone for something like a jab straight downstairs to the body and maybe put a right hook there and then come back up top. So we really needed to mix in our highs and lows a lot better, which is something I usually do pretty well, but also something I do tend to struggle with at times as well. Also, another thing that was inhibiting me from doing the things that I needed to was his straight is just so nasty. I can't stand that Roy Jones straight. I've seen fighters like MC Gaming just fight with the straight, with the Roy Jones straight. All the other punches are nice, but that straight, it's just disgusting. Sometimes when you hit the stick, you want to throw the flare straight, but it does tend to throw the regular straight as if you're hitting it with triangle. So that's also something that is kind of nasty. But anyway, we take a look at the judges' scorecards right now. I'm up 2 rounds to 1. And this fight really hasn't been much demanded on me. I mean, maybe you guys like this style of just sitting back and trying to play defense, throwing a lot fewer punches, moving around the ring. Let me know what you guys think about this game speed compared to my normal one of going in there and really trying to throw combinations. If you look at a lot of fights, as I mentioned earlier, with the speed of the fight, I feel like the game speed, it just isn't realistic in some sense. You could make it realistic, but in most cases it just isn't realistic. So I've really been trying to work on that. Also, you don't even see fighters moving around this much depending on the matchup. If it's 2 boxer punchers, they can basically, move a little bit in the ring, use a couple of head fakes, do a couple of feints, and then they could go ahead and start maybe landing a punch or 2. A really good fight that happened last night was Terrence Crawford versus Ricardo Gamboa. That was an excellent fight, especially in the first few rounds. Those first 4 rounds, man, Gamboa just boxed a beautiful fight. He was just able to basically hit him with that right hand when he got ready. He was able to exchange well. And as the fight went on, it just turned into... Now, people wanted to say it was a slugfest, but it was still a very, very technical fight. Gamboa got really wild. He really got away from his defense, and I think he got frustrated and very discouraged from that knockdown that occurred in the 5th round. And from there, he just didn't look the same as he did in those first 4 rounds. So I want to say this fight kind of had that same feel to where it's like, yeah, then we started to time and we started to use the reach advantage. We started to take the fight to him at one point, and that's when we really started to change things and change the whole entire flow of this fight. If we look at this first few rounds right here, this 4th round has really turned into something special with a 7-punch combination landing at the end of it. I would have hit the line right there, but I didn't think it was worth it at this point. But the fourth round, the end of the fourth round is really when I started to get impatient and really started to get a bit aggravated with the fact that he was landing and I wasn't able to win most of the exchanges. So you see here, he's getting to the point where he's kind of tired of chasing me around and he wants to be chased a little bit. So what we're going to do here is try to establish our jab, but still fight smart. You guys hear me say it all the time. You can fight a pressure kind of style, being smart, but also at the same time you can force somebody to fight your kind of style that you want, which is me. I want him to chase me a bit, but I also want to be able to pot shot and then also, use some aggression at times. So basically have that seesaw going where it's equalized pressure. But that's not what he wants. He wants to be on the outside. And when you got a guy who just wants to be on the outside and he doesn't want to chase you anymore, you should know at that point you broke him. And you basically broke his will to chase you. He realizes now at this point that he can't beat you on the inside. You did something right. And usually I would tell you keep this advantage. You see me trying to do it a bit here. It's trying to keep the advantage. But look how much slower this fight is now from how it was in rounds 1 and 2, where he really just wanted to exchange and he wanted to chase me, he wanted to exchange combos. Look how much now he's keeping his hands in his pocket. He's trying to fight a more defensive style now. And when you do that, when you can get somebody to stop throwing as much and think about what it is that they're doing, they're learning something. You're teaching somebody while you're fighting. And that's something I tend to notice in most of my fights. People start to learn things. They start to either do some things that they see me doing, or they start to change up their strategy and start to change up their game plan. So that means either they're adjusting or they're learning something while they're fighting. And that's the kind of fights that you want to have, where you're able to teach somebody while you're in the middle of the fight. Because not only are you supposed to learn while you're in the middle of the fight, it's supposed to be something that's enjoyable. And for me, this kind of style is a bit more enjoyable. Now this is what I was talking about now, where we come to the point in the fight where I just got bored of fighting a defensive style, and now you see me really going after him. You saw me land a power right uppercut at the end of round number 5 and a couple of nice hooks and uppercuts downstairs to the body. He was able to get us some good counters as well, and it's just been a great fight from this point on. So round 6 to round 10, you're going to see, if it goes to round 10, I'm not going to run that in for you guys, but you're going to see me really start to turn up the combinations, really starting to throw. And also another thing that I thought, and the thing that I noticed at the end of those rounds, is look at his body language compared to mine. So look how much quicker he's gassing out when we throw in those combinations. I do believe Judah and Timothy Bradley have the same punch speed, so it's very unusual for him to be able to slow down and not be able to exchange with us. So now we're just basically landing at will. The combinations is coming out, the flurries is coming out, and somebody please teach that man some defense, as we're able to land a sick left uppercut to the chin, followed by a gut-wrenching power straight downstairs to the body, and put him down onto the canvas for the first time. So the whole boxing thing, the whole making him miss thing, it deteriorated his stamina. It did a good job, it did good wonders for us, where now we're able to win exchanges on the inside. And now we're able to land combinations at will. And we don't have to worry about getting hurt too much, because we know we're still in great condition. We still have a good amount of our health left. We haven't taken much damage. And now we're in a position in this fight to where we can win it, where we can win by a knockout. So that's exactly what you see me going to do here. As I said, man, I'm bored, screw it, I'm going for the knockout. So the whole tempo and pace of this fight has changed, and he's showing warrior spirit by being able to come back and try to fight with us on the inside and do exchanges, as we land yet another right uppercut, sidestep right uppercut counter, and then landed a 3-punch combination after that. And now it's just great exchanges, man. This is something that you really look for in a fight. It's just being able to where both of you guys say, we're going to go for broke and start throwing combinations. Yes, I could have continued to play this fight safe. Yes, I could have continued to fight on the outside and fight defensively. But at the end of the day, it's kind of boring. So we're able to apply smart pressure. This is what I'm talking about. Get him to exchange. Get him to feel comfortable to where he says, yeah, I'm ready to throw. I'm ready to go balls out. And then what do? We've been taking steps back. We've been countering him. And those counters are paying off as we heard him yet again with a jab at the end of round number 6. But he's saved by the bell. It was one of those 1 stun second recoveries where it didn't hurt him too bad. Either that or it was just a minor stun. So as we enter into round number 7 here, we're looking to end this fight. We say we have the tools, we have everything, we have every advantage that you could possibly think of. His experience at this point hasn't really played well for him. Either that or he's just not been one of those fighters who can turn themselves elite. And look at that straight. At first I thought that was a flash KO. He was just got hit and cold clocked by that straight right hand that lands right on the chin. And he goes down to the canvas for the second time. The way he dropped though, with the sound effect, it just seemed like a flash knockout. It just seemed like something he wanted to be able to get the count from. And I'm so glad it wasn't one of those knockouts. I'm glad he was able to get the count and continue on the fight. Because at this point in the fight, I really started having some fun. But then he starts doing little stuff like that, you know, low blows. And at that point, I realized, you know, this guy's going to try to do anything he can to win. Either that or he's trying to get himself TKO'd. So this just shows, this is frustration at its finest, man. This is frustration to the point where it's like he just wants the fight to stop. When you've been beat on the outside, the inside, and you've been beat with every style possible. You saw the counter punching style a little bit earlier. You've seen the inside fighter style. You've seen the boxing style, and then you also seen the outside fighter style in this match. So this is one of those fights where you see things from all different kinds of angles. I should have looked for the power straight a lot more here towards the end of this round. And once again, another headbutt comes through, and I figured at this point, you know, either I'm gonna win by TKO or I'm gonna win by knockout. So I'm figuring maybe he was just doing that because he was about to get knocked down. There's the counter shot downstairs to the body that deteriorated the stamina, and then we end up cold clocking him once more with a right hook upstairs to the head from that orthodox position, even though Zab Judah is a southpaw. And that's going to be the last and final knockdown of this fight. He will not be able to beat the count. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, follow me on Twitter, subscribe to this channel, like this video, and if you had any thoughts in the comment section, I'm more than welcome to hear. Leave them in the comment section below. Also, check out those guys in the description. Check out my UFC guys. Check out some more Fight Night guys. Anyway, it's been your boy, Fight Night's Finest, the Sophie commentator, and I'm off this. Peace!
I'm the chronicle of our struggles, the voice of the families, like Moses, only keeping it real.